Hello, welcome back to another segment of Let's Talk. This is host John May, and each week I try to bring you some good information from what's going on within the community. Today we've came outside, we've came out of the four corners, and we're here at the Alternative Center for Education. Something people don't know about, or they know about it and not get the right information. So today I'm sitting here with Principal Hart at the Alternative Center for Education, and he's going to give you the information coming right from him that tells you about him and the Alternative Center for Education.
Thank you, Mr. May. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss the activities and programming that we have here to try to help the needs of our students in this community. We have about 10 teachers. We have like 4 teachers assistants. In addition to that, we have a cafeteria staff. We have a nurse. All of them on the same page, and we're here just to help our students succeed. The way students get to our school is through what we call the CERT committee. Suspension, expulsion review team. They make a determination based on behaviors that happen at other campuses that raise to the level in which it has to be discussed whether they'll be able to come to our facilities. Once students are come to our facility, it's a regular school. They get a full-time schedule, a full-day schedule like any other school would. We try to match their schedules up with the schedules they had from the previous school that they used to attend. And we also provide something that's unique and some of the schools aren't able to give, is which the social-emotional piece. Actually, all schools are able to give it, and they're not at the level that we're able to give it because we have a small setting, and we use outside sources in addition to staff to support students with social-emotional learning. And that takes place 30 minutes every day. We have what we call a targeted behavior goal that we try to work with each student in. It can range anywhere from making good decisions, anger management, where students also, if they come, whatever their conditions are, we try to create a schedule and a program and a behavior plan that will be equipped for that student to be successful and learn some different goals and strategies that will help them be successful once they transition from our school. Students typically in middle school, they're here for 45 days, depending upon whether they meet all the requirements. And high school students typically are 90-day, and that's a semester due to the fact that they receive credits. So we try to make sure that they're getting adequate information while they're here so they don't affect their credits. The leveling system is so important to our students because it enables them to get different privileges. For example, level 1 is when students have to wear our traditional blue, black, or khaki pants along with a white solid collared shirt. You can't have a logo, you can't have any other coloring on the shirt. It has to be just a solid shirt. And students understand the importance of making sure that they're coming dress code, having a belt attached at the waist, their pants at the waist, because we believe if you look good, you feel good, you'll perform at a different level. As students move up throughout the week and they're making strides in the classroom, we use what's called a point sheet, and our point sheet is a system our teachers use to identify behavior, academics, transition, and also making sure that kids understand what the expectations are. The students are being graded from number 1 through 4, 4 being the best, 1 being the worst, each and every day. Now, as long as you get a 3 and a 4, that'll help you each week to level up. We level up every 3 weeks, and that's identifying that the students are following the expectation the teachers have, both in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and with their dress. Now, attendance is a big issue as well. When a student level up after 3 weeks, the students go to level 2. On level 2, students get to wear a little bit more, leisure clothing. On Friday, they get to wear jeans and a solid colored shirt, any solid colored shirt. Level 3, they get to level up to that point. They then get to wear jeans and a solid colored shirt Wednesday through Friday. And once they reach to level 4, after about 6-7 weeks, then they have the opportunity to dress district wear, with the exception of wearing short pants and sandals. So it's a really unique opportunity for students to stay engaged and focused, and we utilize that dress code system as a way of making sure kids are on point and identify where kids are on the leveling system, and to remind them that they can be anywhere they want, but it'll be based on their behavior and what their needs are.
So let me ask you, Principal Hart, what happens if a student comes to this school and doesn't progress the way they should? What happens to them from that point?
Yeah, several things happen. Part of what we do here is called restorative practices. And restorative practices is trying to find out exactly what the harm may have been. Sometimes when our students come, most of the students that come have some form of trauma. And we've learned that oftentimes wherever there's some trauma outside of school, typically it'll come in school. So one of the things we do in our intake process, we talk about self-efficacy. We say, you know what, anytime that you're having a concern, something happened the night before, rather than you come in and being disruptive, hey, feel free to pull one of the adults on campus. Either they'll address it or they'll either send them to me or Mrs. Everhart, which is our student support. So we all have like a tier 1 system where we try to create an atmosphere for kids to be successful. But in the event a student seems to be needing more resources, if it's an anger issue, if it's an issue outside of the home that requires some other kinds of supports, we try to connect them with the right agencies. But as far as a tier 1 system here at school, all of our staff and teachers understand that we're going to be the first line of defense for each student. So in a student coming in a class, they're having a difficulty, the teachers are, take them out, have that conversation. And if it's a student with an IEP, we'll definitely try to make sure we follow the accommodations for that student. And we understand that it's not going to happen overnight, so we keep working at it. Now, it's interesting you asked this question. I just had to address a student who had been here last year. He has a lot of trauma. He has a lot of, problems at home, and we've been working on him, trying to get him to the right place, and he's still having problems with that. And just recently, we've enacted a little bit more consequence with this student, and we had a talk, and he's like, I get it now. And I was like, that's good. Maybe the consequences that are being implemented is not that it hurts you, but to remind you that you're the person ultimately responsible for making good choices. So as a result of the discipline process as well, we're finding that we're getting and obtaining success. But most of all, we try to what we call just love our students and help them work out some of the issues they may have and provide resources for them to do so.
Now, you said that you're here. They come here, and you have to find out if they're qualified to come here. That gives them an opportunity to come from school to come here to do better so they can go back to school.
Let me clarify that. What happens when they're at their home schools, the staff at that home school have identified a need for the students that they may not be able. One of the things we do, we try to go through our MTSS teams. When there's a student that appears to be disruptive in the classroom, there's an absenteeism problem, we have a big group of people that are trying to work to make sure that students in school every day. We have resource officers on campuses, we have student support, we have social workers. So if it's an attendance issue, we try to get the social worker out there, and we try to get them back into the schools. But once they get into the schools, if the students are having difficulties following the code of conduct, you have the guidance counselor, you have student support, you have the administrative staff, you have teachers, you have outside people who are coming in to volunteer to work with students. So there are a lot of different things that occur before students are referred to the CERT committee. And once they get referred to the CERT committee, it was after an exhaustive effort by that school to be able to maintain a working behavior plan or set behavior goals for the student. But at their home school, it's just so many kids, it's kind of difficult for them to be able to address all the students who have those needs. So when they find a student who the resources have been exhausted and they've tried everything in that larger setting, they then get referred to the CERT committee. The CERT committee then makes the determination of whether or not the school has done everything that they can to address the needs of that student before sending them off to another school, which would be the alternative center. So once they come here, we continue the work that has already been established for them, but we're in a smaller setting because we can be a little bit more intimate. We can be a little bit more flexible as well to help students create a culture where they can be successful.
Now let me ask you, this is open to all the schools in Indian River County that can get this advantage here at this school?
Well, it's secondary. It's just only offered to secondary students, and it's not really like offered. It's only when students have reached a level where the resources at their home school have been exhausted and they're unable to, help cultivate the right type of behaviors that will then allow us in a smaller setting to be able to continue the work that they began and to help that student find that niche that they need to be successful.
Okay, so if a student gets busted in school with drugs, what happens to that student?
Well, that will be a determination made, first of all, with the school. It used to be where we had zero tolerance, automatically tossed out, and things like that. But there's some initiatives that have been worked out with schools so that they can address it themselves. It may be addressed through, suspension and what we call SAC. If it's something where the student, may be using or whatever, it's an opportunity for the school to help get that kid some support. But if it's a situation where a student is selling drugs and paraphernalia, that's another issue. That student will refer to the CERT committee. Then the CERT committee make the determination whether or not that student needs a new placement and sent to the alternative school. as a remedy to the problem that student might be having. Yeah, we're not open campus. We're not open to anyone who wants to come, whereas the students having trouble at another facility and they feel like they need a smaller environment. Unless they have an IEP, we can talk about that and discuss that as far as a placement change. But no, it's not open to like students who desire to be here because we're a smaller campus. It doesn't work like that. It has to be where there's been an identified problem, resources extended, and then this is another opportunity for kids to be successful.
All right, Principal Dunny Hart, we're going to come right back, so just hold you tight.